Hello, everyone. We're going to get started here in just a couple minutes. Want to make sure everybody is connected and ready to go. We'll give it just a minute here. Okay. Well, welcome everyone to our session today on an introduction to AI, of course, standing for artificial intelligence. I'm Jolynn Reen. I'll be your trainer here today, and I'm assisted here in the background with Macy from, of course, the IT company. Macy is having a little bit of a voice problem here today, so I'll be your host. But just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started here. If you do have any questions, we're going to wait till the end to answer questions. So we'll do a Q&A at the end, but you can put your questions in the chat. And then at the end or the Q&A section on your menu at the top, and we'll go ahead and get those answered, but we'll wait until the end of the session today. And just so everybody knows, this session is being recorded. Okay. So with this all being said, what exactly are we talking about when it comes to artificial intelligence? So what we're referring to is, and this is not anything new, which we'll get to a little bit of that. Oh, by the way, before I forget too, Macy did put a link to the handout in the chat. If you want to go ahead and get that file opened, you can use that to follow along today. I'm also going to be going into two different websites. I'm going to be going into Microsoft Copilot, and I'm also going to be going into ChatGPT. So if you have a license for either one of those or the free version, you can go ahead and open those if you want to follow along with the different demonstrations that I'll do today. So we're going to be focusing today on really kind of what is AI and how it's really being used every day in business work and how it can be used responsibly. So, really, no technical background is needed for this session. We're really going to do practical, plain language overviews of what AI is. So, by the end of this session, you should feel more confident talking about AI and using it, of course, every day. So, and literally, I am in an AI tool every single day. And I'm even talking weekends. We can use them on our phone. We can use them on different websites. They're built into specific apps that we're going to talk about today. So it's pretty crazy where AI, and I think it's really such a normal topic of subject. I see things on the internet constantly when it comes to referring to AI. So, really kind of starting out with understanding artificial intelligence. So, AI refers to a computer system that really can perform tasks that normally require human interaction. So, such as understanding language, recognizing patterns, making predictions, and really assisting in decision making. So, AI is a transformative field of computer science that really focuses on creating machine capable of transforming things into results. So, it takes this through this large language model. It will take whatever we are prompting, or otherwise known as chatting with a tool, whatever tool you're using, and we'll get into some of the tools, and it transforms it into understanding by learning from us and reasoning and problem solving. It provides us an output. So AI refers to a simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think and learn like humans. So AI systems can really perform tasks like visual perception, speech recognition, those decision language, or even language translation. So this field has really evolved and is going to continue to evolve. And we'll talk a little bit about the history of AI and where things are going with AI, but it really has been driven to be more of an advanced machine learning, deep learning, and really an everyday source that we can be using. So AI refers to this computer system. It's not a human that you're talking to, although sometimes it seems like it because we get a human-like response. But it can perform these tasks that otherwise we would manually have to do. So we talked about speech recognition. It can help you with decision making, all these different great tools that AI can do for us. So this human intelligence through these machines to think and learn like a human. So built in, and I'll show you a little bit of this today, built in memory to these AI tools that we use. So what that means for us as an end user is when you are using an AI tool, it knows what you're talking about. If you're doing consistency with it, it has built-in memory that it can come back and say, so if I'm always saying, prompting things that are talking about ABC company, and I'm always saying use a professional tone and things like that. Some of that can actually be inputted into the settings of the tool, but it also is learning from patterns that it finds on things that you do on a regular basis. And so it understands you better, like a human response. It is kind of shocking what it does. But if you kind of get the process behind it, it's it's unbelievable how intelligent it really is. So when we talk about AI, artificial intelligence, it seriously is intelligent and it's learning and becoming more relevant in everything it is that we do. Now, when we talk about the history and the evolution of AI is nothing new. This is not a new process. So AI really began with this person, Allen, introduced the theoretical work back in the 1930s through the 1950s. So thinking back on that time, when he really proposed machines could mimic human thinking and introduced what is called the Turing test I believe that was back in 1950s. AI officially emerged as a field into 1950, mid to late 50s at a Dartmouth conference where the term AI was coined. So continuing through the 1960s, the 1970s, they started using systems and chat boxes like Eliza, but really kind of started progressing in 1980 with expert machines that really shifted into 1990s towards machine learning. So machine learning, really kind of a backbone of that was going to be IBM back in the 90s. I remember all this because that was actually when I was in computers really heavily and getting my start. They really started taking a hold of the deep learning capabilities of AI. And then in the 2000s, it started with the data-driven approaches, the deep learning transformation of AI, and the milestones that really IBM did back in all the 2000s. They really started to make it more of a modern AI as what we see today, which back in I'm going to say around the 2015, 2017 era is when it started transforming into the models that we actually use today. Now we'll get into a little bit of those models. which are kind of the versions of AI. So, and by the way, just so you know, nobody owns AI. It's a technology. So just so you know, nobody really owns it. Okay. It's not something that is owned by a person or anything like that. It's a technology. But anyway, business application. So really kind of how AI fits into business operations and productivity. We're going to go through a few examples of using AI in customer service, content creation, forecasting, operations, and really kind of talk about, depending on what department of your company that you're in, how can you specifically use AI? So when it comes to using AI, some examples, AI really helps to build businesses to be able to be more efficient. We can work faster. We can work smarter by helping really to automate tasks that you do on a regular basis. There's great features that are already built in that have been introduced even December of 2025, coming into January of 2026, and continuing through 2026. There's a huge push on not only AI, but on the tools that AI is using, and the term is called an agent. Agents are huge in our AI tools these days. But AI can really draft content. It can summarize documentation. It can streamline communications. It can really help improve customer service. So if you think about when's the last time that you went online and went into help on a website, or called someplace and you go through an automated process that says, what category is the help you need? And it kind of takes you to more suggested prompts from there. Those are agents. That's using AI behind the scenes. So you've probably been doing that for a couple of years, but didn't even know it. Because, like I said, AI is not new. It's just really getting more available and easier for us to use as end users, whether it's for business or it's for personal use, etc. So anyway, in many organizations, AI has really become this digital assistant that reduces any manual efforts. It improves our accuracy by leaps and bounds, unbelievable the accuracy. It allows teams to really focus on the higher value problem solving that we really need every day. So we use AI across all departments, whether you're in HR, you're in finance, operations, sales, IT, customer service. It really is available for us to reduce that productivity, reduce costs, and enhance the customer experience. So, a couple of use cases for businesses: automating customer service responses. We can use a chatbot and a virtual assistant to help answer those common questions. So, routine inquiries from the right team provide 24/7 support. So, let's say a company is using an AI assistant on their website to answer facts or check order status or help customer service troubleshooting without waiting for an online representative. It can summarize reports, emails, meetings. So businesses really rely on AI to quickly condense long documents into short, actionable summaries. So let's say that you had a project meeting. AI can create automatically. We just click a button and say, do this for us during the meeting. It can automatically create action items. It can create the notes from the meeting if the meeting was recorded and we wanted it to do transcriptions. It can help with key decisions and send them to the team or the members automatically. So these are things that AI does today. That's not futuristic things. These are things that we have been using really over the past year, but they are becoming more easy to use, easier to access. We don't have to be a technician to use these kind of features. These are things that we are using as an end user every single day. Also, if you think about forecasting sales, working on budgets, managing inventory, AI can analyze historical data to predict what will happen in the future, really helping businesses plan more accurately. So let's say we're a retail company using AI to forecast which products will sell more in the next month. So they can adjust their inventory appropriately and really kind of avoid those stockouts. So creating content and communication is another option. AI, which I use every day to help me with these kind of examples, but drafting emails. Not only helping you to write an email, but also what if you already started the email? It can help you with summarizing existing messages, help you with a quick response, which I don't know if Macy knows, but the last response that I did to her was generated by Copilot, an AI tool built in to Outlook. Now, I tweaked it a little bit for my own language, but I didn't draft it. I let the Copilot agent or the Copilot tools do that for me. So when it comes to communication, it's amazing what we can use. It can help with marketing posts, it can help with presentations, writing proposals, help with internal announcements. If you have policies, procedures, those types of things that you've had in your organization or sales proposals and things that you've been using for the past 10 years and you really haven't made changes to them, use an AI tool to help you kind of rewrite those to see if you can have them be more modern, more relevant for your company. Because just give it some information about your company, it can automatically rewrite it for your company. So when it comes to this tool called AI, it also improves operational efficiency. So it can identify patterns, help prevent errors, and really optimize workflows across departments. So if we're a construction company using AI, let's say that we're going to analyze equipment logs and identify leading causes of downtime. It really can help us with our team schedules, repairs to be more effective. It can help us with generating reports, just you name it. Anything that you're manually doing can be done by using different AI tools. So, HR summarize candidate resumes, draft job description, analyze employee engagement comments, automate categorizing expenses, budget variances, quickly generate financial summaries. We could summarize safety reports. This list can go on and on. I use it for taking notes. Let's say that I have a client, a brand new client, and I wanted to go back and review all of my emails, all of my correspondence that I've done with that client, look at proposals, and give me a summary of everything. An AI tool can actually do that. As long as you have the right connections to the tools of where your data is stored, whether it's stored in SharePoint, it's stored in Google Docs, etc. These kind of things can be connected to your AI tool. Pretty amazing. So, what are these AI tools that I'm talking about? There are several. There's thousands of different AI tools, but we're really going to talk mainly about the top ones. So, the ones that are used most readily, because I swear they're in our face all the time. We just constantly are seeing them. ChatGPT is a very commonly used one. It is used by businesses, it's used personally. But if you're a business, you probably want to have more of a paid for account than the free version that they have available. It has deep analysis. It can look at documents, whether you are physically connected through the Copilot tool, I should say, sorry, ChatGPT tool to your documents, whether it's SharePoint, whether it's Google Docs, whatever your case might be, you could be directly connected to different software that you would be able to have it automatically go out and look at that document without you even attaching it. But it is great for a lot of different things, and you'll see some examples. Um, ChatGPT and Copilot are similar to each other. They have built-in memory, they have ways that we can control our settings. They can really be used the same across each. They have a lot of similarities on their user interface, but one of the big things that you're going to see that is going to be different between ChatGPT and Copilot is Copilot is owned by Microsoft. So it's Microsoft's AI tool. And the big difference is if you have the Copilot license, it connects directly with your Microsoft 365 account. Therefore, you can automatically be connected across the board with all of your Microsoft applications. So you don't have to worry about security, accessing your information, setting up connectors, those kind of things. It will automatically be connected. Can ChatGPT do that same thing? Yes, but you have to manually tell it where you want it to connect. Whether you're connecting to Google Docs, you're connecting to SharePoint, OneDrive, another third-party application, which Copilot can connect to third-party applications as well. They are so similar to each other. It's kind of crazy. But always a security concern, no matter which tool it is that you're using. There are more, as you'll see on my screen and in your handout. It talks about a few others. Copilot, I should say, Google's Gemini, that's a big popular one. There's Claude, there's I could name a lot, but according to the internet search, these are going to be the most common. ChatGPT and Copilot, business use, those are the two most common. Depending on the type of chatting you want, you might prefer one over another. There's no said rule that, you have to use one. I know Microsoft users that still use ChatGPT. I have a license for ChatGPT because I'm always comparing what does Copilot do versus what does ChatGPT do, because they have a lot of similarities, but they can be a little bit different on their responses. But I like the full connectivity of my 365 apps with Copilot. So I can use that tool directly within Outlook, within Word, within Excel, etc. But each of these has their own little things that people like. And if you're using it on your phone, sometimes I use Gemini because I have Google on my phone, and that's Gemini. So sometimes I use that, but I also have the Copilot app. I have my ChatGPT app on my phone as well. Otherwise, I just have them saved as a shortcut on my internet browser. And my habit is every day when I start work, I open up Outlook, I open up Microsoft Teams, and I open up Copilot. Those are my habits. Sometimes, depending on what I'm doing, I might also open up the browser for my ChatGPT so I can go back and forth in between ChatGPT and Copilot, depending on, like I said, what it is that I'm doing. But this just kind of gives you, how much does it cost? Pretty much on average, if you want a paid for account, it's going to be $20 a month. Now, there are enterprise versions that you can get depending on your organization and your pricing structure, depending on the apps that you're using. But if you're just a person that wants to pay a single user account, you're looking at about $20 a month per app, per AI tool. So, AI at work, what are the benefits and what are the risks? So, the key benefits are it's going to save you a lot of time. We do these repetitive tasks all the time. So, AI tools can help really automate your routine work, drafting emails, summarizing reports, analyzing data. So, employees really can focus on the high value tasks, the things that we need to be humanly doing, that we need to interact with. So it also improves accuracy and really reduces human error. It can even fix human errors. Because if you put too many spaces behind something, there's cleanup tools that can be used through your AI tool where it can actually clean up data. If there's misspelled words, if there's too many spaces, if there's inconsistency in your data entry, an AI tool can fix that. Imagine that. All the manual things that we used to do. It enhances productivity and workflow efficiency so that teams can really work faster at creating documents, presentations, analyzing metrics, organizing information, supports better decision making. I don't know about you, but sometimes it's like, I don't even know where to begin. I can use an AI tool to help us with decision making, and then sometimes it clicks and we start, going on our own. But it really has those deep dive insights where the forecasting and recommendations to help leaders and team members really make those informed decisions. I use it for things like that on a very regular basis. It offers personalized assistant where it can really be your assistant to your information or whatever it is that you're looking up, helping you to prioritize your tasks, suggest action items based on your workload. And of course, we've talked about customer service. Can't say enough about using an AI tool for customer service. But we do need to think about the risks involved with using AI. There's always going to be those risks, and it isn't 100% accurate. So we have to make sure that whatever is being generated out of AI, you copy paste it into a Word document, into an email, whatever the case might be. You can't just send it out. You want to reread it, make sure that the information is accurate. And if it's analyzing your own data, first make sure your data is accurate because it isn't magic. It can't fix your data if your data is wrong. If I manually typed in the wrong figure, AI is going to look at that figure as how it looks in the true application. So data privacy concerns, we never want to put sensitive or confidential information into an unapproved AI tool. So when we think about security risks as a business, you want to really kind of have a governance policy for use of AI so that your employees know that there are risks involved. They know that it sometimes can generate inaccurate information, that we need to double check it. Plus, if you're using an AI tool that is outside of your approved apps, you can't don't put any sensitive information. Like, just as an example, I don't know that you would ever need to do this, but I would never put ABC company needs help on filing bankruptcy, and that can actually be sent out to the public because the way that some of these AI tools are built, is they take the chats that the end users are doing and they feed it back to AI to have it learn more information about what's going on with the public. So there isn't built-in security to some of these AI tools. So organizations really need to have a set of approved AI tools that you want your coworkers to be using. Okay. We don't want to over rely on AI. We still need to do the heavy work. It can help you with decisions, but you make the final decision. It's not replacing that human interaction. You know how sometimes you get that gut feeling? AI is never going to have that gut feeling, that human thinking. Never. It may be able to be a robot and, learn things, but it is never going to be a human. So make sure that you're putting the human aspect into whatever is being generated. So the legal risks, the compliance, the potential miscommunication, if AI generated content and is not reviewed carefully for the tone, for the accuracy, it may lead to confusion or errors. So we really do need to make sure that we are going back and rereading through things to make sure that we're using the right tool for the right features. Okay. So, some prompting best practices, we really want to understand what prompting is in an AI tool. Prompting is the chat that we have with this machine, not human. It gives us a human-like response, but it's a machine you're talking to. We want to have good prompts. So we want to be able to write in a good prompt so that we get back a good result. So communication, making sure that it is clear on what it is that we're asking our AI tool to do. So similar to talking to a helpful assistant, but with one key difference. It only knows what you tell it. The clearer your instructions are when you prompt the system, the better the results are going to be. So a prompt is like a written command, a question, or a description that is really telling an AI what task to perform, how to perform it, and what do we want for the final output? What should that final output look like? It provides direction, context, tone, the format that we want the result to be, and sometimes examples so that AI can generate the most useful and accurate response. The more specific that prompt is, the better the output coming from AI is going to be for the end users. So, very important that we have effective prompts. So, the essentials for an effective prompt is one of the biggest things to remember is AI only knows what you put into that chat. Now, we talked a little bit about that memory, so it's going to start building on that memory, and I'll show you in just a moment where that memory is kept and how you can manage that. But the clearer and more specific you are, the better the result. There are several websites that you can learn more and more about good prompts versus bad prompts. Okay. The providing that context, who is this for? What am I rating? What's the objective of this prompt? Who's going to read the results of this prompt? Why are we doing it? It really helps AI match the tone and the intent of the results that it's going to give you. So using roles like act as an HR specialist, write this for someone in a high school setting, kind of letting it know you want it to be a beginner response, a more advanced response. Give it guides, give it perspective while specifying the format. So if you wanted to give you results, breaking it down from separate in categories like I want good versus bad, I want separated emails versus my tasks versus my appointments, etc. So examples are especially powerful because they show the AI what's good, really kind of taking that guesswork out of it. So you really want to think about a good prompt versus a bad prompt. Sometimes we need to go back and follow up with questions to steer the response of the prompt in a better direction because it's not a one and done. It's a conversation that you're going to have with the system to really have it narrowed down. So you do follow-up questions, step-by-step reasoning, and setting those boundaries so that it can help improve the clarity and the accuracy. Remember that AI works best with the information you provide. So using things like attachments so that if you're referring to a specific file, it knows what file it's supposed to be looking at. Quoted text and use things similar to this. I want it formatted similar to this file. Use examples. Let it know what it is that it's supposed to do because it cannot read your mind. Although sometimes we think it can, it seriously cannot. So the better the prompt, the better the result is going to be. Okay. So the prompt formula, when we kind of put together a prompt, we want the role, we want the task, we want the content, the format, and any constraints. So an example could be act as a communication specialist, draft a short announcement to employees explaining tomorrow's system outage, use a friendly tone, and keep it under 120 words. That's a great way to describe what it is we want. So a prompt is the instructions that we give to AI. Clearer prompts equals better results. So when we break that down, being a good prompt, the role, act as a project manager. The task, summarize this document and attach the document you want it to summarize. The context, this is for a client who cares about safety updates. Or the format, give me 5 bullet points. Or write a short paragraph. Write 5 paragraphs. Give me the top 10 responses from the internet. Whatever you need, make sure that you're kind of piecing together what a prompt technically needs. Now, before we dive into some examples and looking at these different AI tools, I do want to talk about the ethical AI in the workplace for a moment. This means using AI in a way that is responsible, transparent, fair, and aligns with your organizational values. It ensures that the AI system supports employees, protecting customer data, and avoid harmful or biased outcomes. Every organization, doesn't matter if you're a Fortune 5,000, you're a small business, we need to teach our employees about safe AI use because that's going to help improve the productivity and really help with not having those risks. So, ethical AI isn't just about the technology, it's about the human judgment, the accountability, and the trust behind the scenes. So, human oversight must always be maintained. Accuracy, relevance, ethical, compliance with our company policies. Data privacy and security comes first. Never entering confidential, sensitive, or regulated information into an unauthorized AI tool. Like stating, this customer called ABC Company only has a $10,000 budget with us because of credit issues. Those kind of things you would never, ever want to put into a system or sensitive coworker information. So data privacy and security must come first. Okay. Following these rules are really going to avoid issues down the road. So ethical versus unethical use. An employee asks AI to summarize a long PDF document or a long Excel spreadsheet. Then review the summary before sending it or sharing it with somebody else. A customer service team uses AI to improve email drafts, but removes private customer information before inputting anything. You can add that private stuff back into the drafted email once AI is done. Copying and pasting confidential financial data into an unimproved AI tool is definitely an unethical use. Using AI to screen resumes without human review, sending AI generated content directly to clients without verifying the accuracy of that information, those are things that we really need to avoid. Okay. Now we'll come back and talk about the future trends of AI. Right now, I want to take you into two of the most commonly used AI tools. And I'm going to do a couple of demonstrations on different things that you can do and a side-by-side comparison of how the results come out in these tools. So this is Copilot. This is Microsoft's paid for version of Copilot. It is directly connected to my 365 account by me using this tab at the top called Work. If I just wanted to search the internet for the results, I can actually click Web. Web is going to do a standard internet search for whatever it is that I'm asking it. But just so you know, on the Work option, I could actually say, what's my, summarize my email messages. So let me actually talk to Copilot and tell it what it is that I want it to do. Look over my emails to see if there's anything on my radar. Also, are there any tasks that need to be completed that are either late or coming up being due? And what meetings do I have for the rest of the week? Now I'm just going to send that to the system and it's going to go out to my Microsoft 365 account and look over and give me the results of everything that I just asked it to do. But to be honest, I do that every day. So I have a built-in agent that's going to do that same thing for me every day. Every time that I click on the agent, it gives me those built-in prompts that I want it to do. Now, we'll get into agents in another session a little bit more, but it's scanning through my system right now and coming up with potential follow-up action items that need to happen, emails worth keeping on my radar, overdue or upcoming tasks, meetings for the rest of the week. It's breaking everything down and giving me links to all of that information. Now, could I actually do this same thing in Copilot? So let me actually go to Copilot. I'm just going to copy, I'm sorry, I'm going to go to ChatGPT. Can I ask it that exact same thing to look over my emails and stuff? Technically, no, I can't, unless I connect to my Microsoft account. If I connect to my account, it would be able to do that. But do I want to connect to my account? If I'm using Microsoft, I might just want to keep everything with Copilot. But what is an example of how we can use ChatGPT versus using Copilot if I don't need to be connected to my Microsoft 365 account? Well, one of the features is what if I needed to help me write something or I have a trip coming up? Like right now, in my history on the left-hand side, which by the way, when you look at Copilot and you look at, let me go back to a new chat here real quick. When you look at Copilot and you look at ChatGPT, they both have the navigation pane on the left-hand side, which is going to give you access to their different tools and the history of your previous chats in that program. They both have settings that are available. I'll get into a little bit more on that because I want to talk about the memory side of how these work because it's fantastic how that memory, how it handles the memory. But let me just go into a previous chat that I did. Let's say that I'm going to do a conference in Seattle and I wanted Copilot, or I should say ChatGPT, to actually help me with this. So I'm looking for a hotel in Seattle for a business conference that can hold 2,000 people, and I could have given it more information, but I'm going to just put that in. So looking for a hotel in Seattle. I'm going to go to a new chat and regenerate this. So I'm basically just pasting, looking for a hotel in Seattle for a business conference that can hold 2,000 people. If I needed extra things, I would put in those details, but let me just send that to the system and it's going to go out there and it's going to find that information for me. It's using a model called the GPT 5.2. So when we talk about GPTs, which is the generated performance transformers, uh, a GPT really is the most current version of the model that it's using. Think of it like your versions of Windows, Windows 10, Windows 11, that kind of thing. So it's using the most latest model, which does a deeper reasoning, et cetera, et cetera. Now look at what it gave us back. It thought for 13 seconds. So it wasn't doing a deep reasoning, but it did a reasoning that gave us a good result. So here are the solid Seattle area hotels that can hold 2,000 people. The Hyatt Regency is giving you images, a quick short list recommendation if we wanted to do that. We could tell it when are the conference dates. We could actually connect it to hotels.com, whatever, and we could have it make reservations for us. There's different AI tools out there that could actually do those kind of things. So here's what the results look like in ChatGPT. But let me do that same thing back here in Copilot. So I'm going to go to the web at the top because I wanted to look at the internet, not my 365 account. And I'm just going to paste that exact same thing. I'm going to send my prompt. Now, it probably wasn't the best prompt. I could have given it a lot more detail because I want it to be near SeaTac, the airport, that kind of a thing. I wanted to have, food available. I wanted to have rooms. Here's the dates for the conference. Anything like that, I could have provided to it to get a better response. But this looks a little bit different than the response that we got from ChatGPT. Additional large hotels, not quite 2,000 capacity, but strong alternatives. It's actually giving links to these at the bottom as well. This one's a Marriott, so it's got a link to the inventory of that one. So just so you could see, we could ask it more questions as well. So both ChatGPT and Copilot will give you a continuation suggested prompts at the end, like help me draft an RFP for this. Help provide the pros and the cons. What are the costs of each one of these? I could have it continue. So it's giving me the sources that it was using down at the bottom. And I could say, show pricey. I could do any of these. And it's going to continue that conversation with that search that I was doing. How impressive is that? And if I continue to chat with it to say, I'm going to be doing a conference in Seattle, here's some different dates and here's some different needs, it's going to start to remember that. Now, how does that do that? Well, both ChatGPT and Copilot and some of these other tools, Gemini, etc., have built-in memory. We can go to the settings, which here in Copilot are located at the top right. Settings for ChatGPT are at the bottom left, but we get basically the same concept. They are so similar to each other. I love them both. But one of the things is if I go into the settings, it's got different settings that you can do, like data control, because we could share our responses, whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini, etc. We could do some personalization, and this is a key part of using an AI tool. We can edit the instructions that we want it to have that it's going to use on a regular basis. So, giving it information about yourself. Use clear and simple language. I wanted to always give highlight decisions in meeting notes. I wanted to focus on internal sources, etc. I give it the information I want it to know. Like if I always want a professional response, etc. Now, here in Copilot, we also have notifications, and I can go into my agents and manage some of my agent capabilities. But there's a lot of pretty cool things that we have available. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and close this for a moment. And at the top right, I also have this drop down arrow. Both ChatGPT and Copilot can do a temporary chat. If you want to chat with the system, but you do not want it to be part of your history, you have the capability of doing a temporary chat. So we could do exactly that same thing back here in ChatGPT. If you go to the top right of ChatGPT, you could see that this is related to the chat I'm in. Let me go to a brand new chat here for a second. I'm going to go to my account at the bottom left. From there, I'm going to click personalize. This is just like we were talking about in Copilot, where you can go in and you could choose different settings that you want it to know about you. It lays it out just a little bit differently, but it's the same exact concept. Also, there's an apps category where you can be connecting to these other systems. It also has schedules where you could actually schedule a prompt to happen on a regular basis. I'll show you an example of how that works here in just a second. It's got security measures, it's got parental controls, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but on a personal level. There's been some issues, of course, with AI, this part of the security side, where AI was being used for things that it shouldn't have been being used to do the results. So we can actually have some parental control over our systems so that if somebody's using it, they're using it for the right purposes. But just so you know that, you could go into your account and you can manage your account from here. Just so you know, it's got very, very similar to the settings that we have within Copilot. They're almost apples to apples on the different things that we can manage. But we can attach files to have our files be analyzed as well, no matter which of your systems it is that you're using. So if I'm here in ChatGPT and I wanted to look at a file, I'm going to grab an Excel file, and I'm just going to grab any one of them for right now. And I want to ask it questions. Both systems allow you to talk as well. They have this microphone icon on the bottom right. So I'm going to tell it what I want it to do. Summarize, oops, I have to say aloud. Summarize this workbook so that I can create a report for leadership. So I'm going to send that to the system. And just so you know, I'm going to copy that same exact thing and put it in Copilot so you could see how it's going to generate the response. Some people have a preference over the way some chatting comes out in different tools because some are built to do different types of analysis. But built into both Copilot and ChatGPT It has deep reasoning. It has agents that we could be using to say, I want you to do analysis, do a deeper analysis on my data. But just so you know, it automatically is going to give me a summary, just like I asked. It's got these key functionality areas, large data set analysis. It's got data organization, data dates based on calculations, blah, blah, blah. So here's what it's giving us here in ChatGPT. Let me do exactly that same thing back in Copilot. I'm going to do a new chat, and I could click work because this is a work file that I'm having it look at, but I'm going to click the plus sign and I'm going to say add work content, or I could go into upload images, files, etc. I'm going to do exactly that same file, this Excel fundamentals. I'm going to give it the exact same instructions as I did. So I'm going to put this, oops, sorry, put this into the message, same thing. I want this to be prepared for leadership. So I'm telling it who's going to be looking at the results of this. Now I did give it a ton, but just so you can see some of the results. But here's an executive summary that it's giving me. Basically, it's giving us very, very similar. If we did a side by side on these, it'd be amazing how close the results are. But key business insights by area, employee performance and compensation, workforce and organizational data. It's really breaking apart that entire workbook and summarizing it for us. Now, I could have said only look at this specific data set or whatever the case might be. Only look at this worksheet, this range of information, whatever the case is. But a big difference between using these tools is I can actually go to Excel. Let me bring my Excel file over. And I can actually have it analyze data directly within my Excel. So if I'm in this workbook that is construction company information, and I want to use a Copilot, I could do that right within the application itself. I don't have to be out in my browser, in my Copilot app. It is built in. So every Microsoft 365 app has Copilot capabilities. And that's where my personal preference, because I'm a Microsoft Master Instructor also, is to use Copilot. But like I said, I still use ChatGPT. I like ChatGPT. I'm not saying I don't, but I like having this built in. So if I wanted to analyze this workbook or this worksheet to give me information or summarize the data in this workbook, I can do that. And I'm going to say in this worksheet instead of workbook. I can have it suggest different formulas that could be used within this data. There's so many things that are built right in to this Copilot tool right within your applications. So I can go to Outlook and I can say, summarize this email. Because if I have an email that is, you know, 30 different conversations going back and forth and back and forth, I just want a summary of all of that. I can have Copilot do that for me direct without having to say to like ChatGPT, I want to connect to my system. If I am in Gemini, it assumes connection capabilities with Google. But what if I'm using Microsoft? I'd have to force it to connect to it. And I always worry about the security side when you're connecting to other things. But anyway, just so you could see what it brought back. So it went and analyzed this project information that we have. It's got financial and costing, it's got HR and crew, it's got equipment fleet information, and it's generating all of this right here. Well, what if I wanted to do a pivot table? Create a pivot table based on the location, the budget, and the amount that was spent. I can have Copilot automatically do that for me. Can I do those kind of things back in ChatGPT? Not like this, because here it can automatically insert the pivot table right into my workbook because it's utilizing my Microsoft account. Now, can it do those kind of things through Gemini with a Google file? Yeah, it can, which is pretty cool that it does that. So you just want to find the tool that's going to be best suited for your organization. Where are we going to have the best insights? Now, like I said, I could have ChatGPT generate a chart based on data within a workbook, but I would attach the file to ChatGPT to have it do that. But anyway, just so you could see, it's doing a reasoning. And by the way, it's telling me it was 8 seconds on the reasoning, just like ChatGPT does. So it's amazing how similar they are. I just love them both. I just love the concept of using AI, but I'm never going to take word for word on what it does. But the best part about this is it's going to give me this link to add to a new sheet. So if I click add a new sheet, I have my pivot table, boom, just like that. When it gets done doing the analysis, you can tell it to insert that data, insert a chart. It can generate a brand new workbook, put it on a new sheet. And by the way, let me just jump back here for a second. I can actually ask it to recommend a formula for this data set. Recommend a formula for this worksheet equipment fleet. I just send it to it and it's going to analyze this data and say, here's some recommended formulas. Do you want me to add it? And it would add it to the next available column and copy it down for all of the records of information. These are the kind of things that Copilot, or I should say, AI in general, the tools can be used to do. Can you imagine doing those things manually all the time? We don't do that manually anymore. Like cleaning up our data. We could say, ChatGPT, I want you to clean up this Word document to look for spelling errors, extra spaces, whatever kind of formatting issues it is that it has. It can look at that attached Word document and help you with all of that. Now, manually, can we do that? Well, some of it, yes, but some of it's going to be extremely time consuming on what it's going to do. So use the automated features that we have built into all of our tools that we have for AI. Like I said, there are literally thousands of tools available. I'm really kind of highlighting ChatGPT and Copilot today because business related, these are going to be the most common. But to wrap up a little bit on this, I really want you to think about the safety side. Think about, this is what we need to think about in our organization. Safe, effective AI adoption. AI can be wrong. Got to be careful with it. Protect your data. Now, what's coming in 2026? You will be shocked at the different things that are being implemented already in 2026 and the things that are going to be coming. And if you're a SharePoint document library user, there are some changes that are coming in the next couple of months that are going to be outrageous. They are making our lives as end users so much easier. Absolutely love it. But I want to check back and see if there were any questions that anybody had today. Did anyone have any questions on our discussion here today? So, what industries do you think are the most at most risk from being completely changed by the AI landscape? That is a fantastic question. It's really any type of industry is going to be changed because of those simple capabilities that we could be using every single day. It just enhances the capabilities of what it is that we could do. But if you just stop and think about inventory, I work at a manufacturing organization. Take a look at all the different ways that AI can be used in your different industries. It is unbelievable. And as a matter of fact, if you just go to your favorite internet browser and put in a search of saying, how can our manufacturing organization use AI tools? You do a simple search like that, you're going to find thousands of results. So it isn't just one type of industry, it's all industries. And even as an individual person using these AI tools, I needed to look up some information the other day on the best route to drive. I want to find hotel information, even on a personal level. AI is not going to be going away. It's becoming easier, more secure for us to be using as individuals and or as businesses. But as a business person, I tell you, it has saved my life. As a matter of fact, I have been kind of trying to keep track, and I am averaging an hour and a half to 2 hours a day Monday through Friday, of using different AI tools to help me with managing different things that I do on a regular basis. It is unbelievable the time savings. Okay. So when it comes to any other questions, please let me know if you have any. I'll be watching the Q&A or the chat there. But just so you know, we do have another session coming up. Oops, sorry, I forgot to update that, Macy. Future webinars, I apologize for that. You will be notified with the next one. I know that they send out email notifications on the next webinar that they have coming out. So Macy will get that information out to you. But I didn't see any other questions come through. So I do want to thank you for joining us today. And Macy, I hope you feel better real soon. But thanks everyone for joining us. We appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day. Okay. So one more question did come in, and I want to quick answer this. So all AI tools are all paid applications. No, some of them are free, and you're going to find that in your handout. Like there's a free ChatGPT, there's a free Copilot, etc. There's free versions, but the free versions are not going to give you the same capabilities that a paid for version will. An example of that is going to be connecting to your 365, connecting to other applications. You'll have limited access. You can only use it so many times a day and things like that. Okay, just wanted to quick answer that one before we close completely out. Thank you, everyone. See you again. Thanks, Macy. Bye.